Hi and welcome back to my channel, Carrick Studio. This is now going to be like the first of a few editions or in a series regarding pipes and pipe smoking and tobacco. And I think a good intro into this basically is to talk about a few of my favourite tobaccos that I actually currently enjoy, and some that I have enjoyed for many years. Now, living here in Ireland, we don't have a massive choice of places to buy our tobacco from. Most of the tobacco that I buy now is actually from online sources, mostly from outside of Ireland, but there are a few places within Ireland that you can buy. Well, there is one particular company that you can buy from in Ireland. We'll go into that later. But the ones that I first started on all those years ago, and it's more years ago than I care to remember, was and still is one of my very favourite tobaccos. Let me introduce you to a little old chap, a little baldy fella, and his name is Mick McQuaid. Mick McQuaid tobacco is quite a coarse cut tobacco. It's very rich in colour, dark in colour should I say, but rich in flavour. Has a bit of a plum casing to it, and it's kind of a dip rich, like fruitcake flavour really, I suppose, and very smooth, not mellow but smooth. Has a lovely room note. Now I put all my tobacco that I smoke a lot of and have plenty of in these cases here, these glass jars. Now we can't get mason jars easily here in Ireland, but we do get these what are called Kilner jars. They're very good. They're good for storing tobacco in long term, and they won't be as good as a mason jar. They have like this like a rubber seal on them, but that would perish over time and leak, so you'd have to be careful about long-term stocking in these particular jars, but I never keep them long enough to worry about that. But the tobacco itself has an absolute wonderful aroma. This is not unfortunately YouTube that you can smell, but I can smell it. It's just a wonderful aroma. It is only available, I believe, in Ireland. It used to be available in the UK and the rest of Europe as well, but sadly for you, but not for me, I don't think you can get it outside of Ireland any longer. The main distributors for this would be James Fox in Dublin. That's where I source all my Mick McQuaids from. I can get it from some local tobacconists as well when they have it in stock, but they don't keep it in stock for, or at least I go in and buy it all, and then when I go back it's usually gone and they'll have to reorder it again, but it's a bit haphazard. But James Fox keep it in supply pretty much constantly, so that's really good. Now I don't start the day off with this, although way back when I guess I used to. That would be one of my only tobaccos really. I would have started off originally, like everybody who weren't aware of all the wonderful blends out there, just with the commercial tobaccos that were readily available. St Bruno, which is another one of my favourites incidentally, which is very similar to Mick McQuaid. But I think everybody would have started off at some stage with Clan, don't judge me, and what's the other one now? Virginia, Mellow Virginia, and Condor. But there was a time when they were really the main ones that were available. I did try them all, but I didn't really get on. I certainly never got on well with Condor. It was an aromatic that's very strong. It would ghost the pipe so badly that once you'd smoke on even one pot of it, or one bowl of Condor, that was it. That pipe was for Condor only, because every other blend you put into there had this distinct taste and flavour of Condor. The same with Clan. Clan also was very similar as well, but I gave those two up many years ago. I couldn't really get on with them, and I settled on Mick McQuaid's mostly. And also I used to have Dunhill Flake. I enjoyed that, along with Dunhill Navy Rolls. But like, they left the market, and Peterson bought those blends and continued making them, thankfully, to the original recipe made by ST Group. They were made by ST Group as well when they were Dunhill, I believe, so the recipe has never changed, does always taste the same. People sometimes say, oh, that it's definitely different, because I remember it tasting differently, and the stuff that I have from way back when doesn't taste the same. Well, I would argue it wouldn't taste the same because it's mellowed somewhat over the years. If you've had it in the cellar, it wouldn't taste the same as a new stock now anyway, but it is the same recipe. So that was my main intro into pipe tobacco. Thankfully Mick McQuaid's is still available, and it is my go-to smoke. However, the first smoke of the day is this one, Peterson's Early Morning Pipe. It's a very apt name, and it is once again an absolute wonderful gem of a tobacco. It is very flavoursome in the morning, it's flavoursome even if you have it all through the day. But it is a nice start to the day. It's not too heavy, it's light enough, more light to medium in blend and tobacco strength and nicotine hit, if nicotine is something you require. For me, it's not a requirement, and it does really start off the day in a great way. The room note I find is quite nice as well. My wife doesn't mind it, although I don't really smoke in the house anymore these days. There was a time when I would, but not anymore. I now have my man cave, as my family likes to call it, so that's where I would enjoy my smoking now, which, to be fair, is a much better place. Doesn't affect anybody else in the house. I'm not spreading smoke around the house, nobody's inhaling any of the smoke, so it's safer for them too, and that's important. But yes, Peterson Early Morning Pipe, it is a wonderful smoke in the morning. Another one that I really do enjoy is this one. Now this comes in plug format, and I have a wonderful friend who happens to be an uncle, or an uncle of my wife, who is a long-term smoker, and he thoroughly enjoys Mick McQuaid's as well, but he found it difficult to source, so he got, I think it's Royal Yacht or plug, I think, and he has a blender machine, you know, like a food blender, and he basically slices up the plug and then pops it into the blender and to the right coarseness and uses that. And I used to smoke plug as well, Mick McQuaid plug actually, but I used to find it very frustrating because I'd fancy one and then I'd realise I haven't got a knife handy, and you'd end up putting it back and picking up something else, and before I know it the plug would have dried out somewhat. So this innovation from my uncle is an absolute godsend to me. So once again, Peterson 3Ps, it is very similar to Mick McQuaid. Now it's okay me talking about Mick McQuaid if you've never tried it before, but if you've tried 3Ps then you can understand what Mick McQuaid actually is like as well. Once again, it's a dark in colour, very rich in flavour. The smell is not quite so strong as Mick McQuaid, but it is very similar and quite delicious. Now, when you actually blend a plug in a blender, it doesn't come out in strings, it comes out in flakes, small flakes. but it's much easier to pack in the pipe. You would probably pack the pipe a little bit differently, definitely not as tight, because it would all be very flat in the pipe, so it's a very delicate way of loading the pipe. But once lit, it's fantastic. Nice, mellow, smooth, rich in flavour but smooth. Nice room note as well. And then another one of my favourites would be this one here, Peterson Standard Mixture. This also is very similar. This is Virginia's and Turkish tobaccos. So it's once again there's no flavourings in this. It's Latakia, Orient and Virginia tobaccos roasted, and it's like a same type of cut, mixed cut. Beautiful. Once again, medium in strength, I'd say. But it's another nice, enjoyable smoke, and it is readily available from Peterson. Now I do enjoy flake as well, and my original flake that I always used to smoke was Dunhill. Now that one disappeared obviously, and you can now get Peterson dark flake, which is similar, but the one I prefer is this one, Erinmore. Now Erinmore flake was originally an Irish blend from Carroll's, I believe, but it's beautiful citrusy smell, quite dark in colour, but that is a very, very beautiful flake, and you can fill your pipe with this in numerous ways. I've tried it in various formats. I've rubbed it out, that's nice, or at times you just fold it over and the other way and just literally put it into your pipe, push it down and smoke it that way too. That does require a lot of relighting though, it's quite difficult that way. Or you can just bunch it up into your hand and then just push it in as well. Variety of ways, depending on the choice of pipe as well. If you do it that way, once again, if it's quite loosely packed, it's quite moist, so you may want to like take a slice of that out beforehand and leave it for 20 minutes or so aside, and then smoke it. You'd find it'd be a lot easier to smoke. Not quite so moist, but still moist, but it'll stay lit a little longer. Another one that I have, sometimes I would have it in the evening, and it kind of makes sense because it is called Nightcap, once again Peterson blend, and this one is Latakia, Orient and Perique, and it is a really tasty full fat tobacco. You would not want to smoke that on an empty stomach, and you certainly wouldn't want having that as your first smoke in the morning. That would be quite a heavy smoke and wouldn't be enjoyable. But it is what it is. It's a nice, strong, flavoursome smoke in the evening. The last smoke of the day. Set you up for the night if you need nicotine. But as I said, that nicotine just isn't a requirement for me. It's more about the taste and just enjoying smoking a pipe, relaxing, taking your time. The ritual, basically. That's really why I enjoy pipe smoking more than anything else. I do like aromatic a little bit as well. Quite a few of them are nice, but this one I found to be probably one of my favourites. Once again, Peterson. Leaning very heavily on Peterson, simply because in Ireland it's the one that you can source readily, and it is available. This particular one here, it's Black Cavendish with Virginia from Brazil and Africa, with some with as I said, Black Cavendish there, and it's like a vanilla type flavour. It's nice. It's a smooth, rich aroma and nice mouthfeel. One not to be rushed, like all aromatics really. It's something that you have to learn to sip, because they can be quite moist, can't they? But once again though, if you take out a portion for your pipe and just allow it to settle out in the open for a while, just lift it up and just aerate it a little bit before packing it into your pipe, even if for like 10-15 minutes, it makes a huge difference. And also you need to light them with a light flame, a match preferably, and you're basically just scorching the tobacco. Very similar to like you would if you were smoking a cigar. I'm not too sure if people here watching this smoke cigars, but I do enjoy cigars as well, but this isn't really about cigars. But when you're lighting a cigar, you pretty much pre-light a cigar. You singe the end of the cigar after you've cut it open, and you warm it up till gradually the whole of the end of the cigar is glowing orange, but without hitting it with a massive flame. And that way then you're not burning all the oils away, you're not overheating the cigar, you just got a nice even start so that it like will continue to burn evenly all the way up the cigar. Very same as if you're lighting a pipe. I see some people there and they have these torches that they're pushing into the pipes. That can only result in two things: hot tobacco losing its flavour rapidly. I don't recommend using those torch type lighters at all. Definitely a butane or a butane light flame, similar to this type of flame, just a light flame that you just lightly toast the top of the tobacco with, or a match. It takes a little bit of skill to use a match because obviously you don't have much flame time with one, but sufficient enough to light most tobacco bowls, definitely. And you may have to relight it after a little while. Another match, 2 matches maximum. You shouldn't really need more than that. If you do, you're smoking it too fast or not fast enough. And another brand which I found, this is from a German shop in Munich, Zechbau, and it's a blend that they have that I can honestly say I was pleasantly surprised with. I bought a few from them and they were mostly aromatics because they would be very popular. They do an English blend as well, which is popular too, but they do like aromatics. I do find them a bit too fruity. Excuse me. But this one here, from Zechbauer, number 15 Irish. I can highly recommend this. You get that online from Zechbauer. However, you will find, unless you live in Germany itself, you won't be able to, they won't post it out to you anymore. They used to be able to do that, but not any longer. This is the colour and the style. Very, very tasty. Just going to have a drink here. So yeah, that's a very, very enjoyable smoke. I've enjoyed that many a time out on the boat, coming in from after a race, lighting up my pipe, and just on the way back into the yacht club from the race course, just relaxing, letting the other kids, everybody else take control of the boat, and I just smoke away my pipe. And this one brought me home many a time. Wonderful. Now, my favourite type of pipe as well, moving on to from tobacco a little bit, but we'll go back to tobacco in a minute, but like I think that would be my favourite pipe of all. Beautiful pipe. It's Peterson. Now this one actually is an Irish second from smokingpipes.eu, so I'm not 100% sure exactly what model it is, but it is an absolutely gem of a pipe. I prefer a straight pipe. I just find them easy to get on with. I do have bent pipes too. My favourite one would be this one here. Once again, Peterson. This one's badge KMP Peterson, and it's a briar again, more like a Rhodesian style shape, but beautiful. And also, oops, there's a bit of tobacco left in that one. The cleaning up to do there. But both of those favourite pipes now are 9mm filters inside of them, and I find smoking pipes with the filter now to be much more enjoyable than smoking a pipe without a filter. It's just more relaxing and calm, and it's a bit like after driving a stick shift or a manual gearbox car, moving over to an automatic and finding life so much easier. That's how I find smoking pipes with a filter. I have a few, a 7LE or two, and they also have filters, but they're slightly different. They're not the ones with like the Petersons, like the tubes with carbon inside them. Is it carbon? I'm not too sure. Something like that anyway. They have like a little triangular shaped piece of balsa wood that you put inside. That's a good idea too. Have to be a little bit careful with those, because if you push them in too far they'll block the stem, so you'd be sucking and not getting anything, so you have to be careful. Sometimes I used to nip the end off them because they were slightly too long, just to ensure that there was enough airflow through them. You do have to be careful to get it right, and then when you're pushing it into the pipe, not to knock off the sides, because it'll push it back up into the stem. So always check the airflow before you even put tobacco in on a 7LE. Not the same with this Peterson with their 9mm filters. They don't block because there's holes in the end of them. They're intended to be pushed into the stem completely. But the shape of the stem anyway is kind of open at the end, so it lends itself to not being blocked anyway. So those would be my favourite tobaccos that I really thoroughly enjoy. Now, they are my go-to, but I do have another 40 or so tins in my cellar. Now, that sounds like a lot, but trust me, that's not a lot. There are people who have literally thousands of tins of tobacco. I don't think I'll ever get to that level. It just wouldn't interest me. How would you get through that amount in a lifetime? You just can't, can you? So you're kind of harvesting tobacco from other people that I can't get hold of it. Case in point, Cornell and Dial in America did one of the short run tobaccos, and they released it. I think it was called Firebird, and within minutes the website crashed. People couldn't buy it. They were getting very cross, and when it came back up again, and it wasn't long before all of the tobacco had already sold out, and they cause such a frenzy when they say we have the short run tobacco, and people go mad to try and buy it. The sad thing is, which I find a little bit strange as an aside here, is that each person is allowed to buy up to 10 tins. And 10 tins is a substantial amount of tobacco, and that means that there's a huge amount of people that would really like to try it can't, because it's all gone, because people are buying 10 tins worth. And really, why would you buy 10 tins of a tobacco that you've never even tried before in the hope that you like it? Because if you don't like it, which is inevitable because a lot of them buy huge amounts, and then you find that people are trying to sell it later on. Bit of a waste, isn't it? It's a little bit silly, really. However, that's just my opinion. I'm sure there are many people that would disagree with me on that matter. But that also brings me on to that thorny subject of ST Group, Scandinavian Tobacco Group, buying McBaron, which also included the Sutliff brand, and then subsequently deciding to close down Sutliff and McBaron's, to be fair, and only having a very, very small amount of tobacco brands left. Now, for people over here in the EU and in Ireland and probably the UK as well, it's not really viewed as something quite so bad, in that we would never really be able to get hold of Sutliff very easily anyway. And yes, certainly a certain amount of the Mac Barons of blends, yes, of course we would be able to get those as well. But the specialised blends that Sutliff were making, all gone, bar 4, I think. It's incredible. It must be absolutely horrendous for you guys over there, and girls and people over in America, who thoroughly enjoyed being able to try out all these delicious looking blends, and probably a lot would find that certain amounts of some of those blends would be your go-to blends, and now they're not going to be available any longer. I mean, that has really got to hurt. Sadly, it doesn't look like they're going to be any rowback on them saying, well, okay, we'll start producing them. They just won't. ST Group are all about money, and they're all about bulk. They're not interested in short or small runs. They can't do it. Their equipment doesn't allow for it. When they make 50,000 tins per run, they can't then just slow the machines down and put less tobacco in and say we'll only have 1,000 tins. They can't do that. It's not well, it's not financially viable for them, but like physically, you wouldn't be able to do it. Just wouldn't be able to do it. And as a result of which, they've decided to consolidate on the best sellers, the ones that everybody are buying, simply because they obviously have done the mathematics. They've seen the accounts, they've seen what actually sells, and they're going to continue with those in bulk. Apparently, though, that only applies to America, not to Germany. In Germany, they're going to still produce certain quantities or certain types of tobacco, but they will be in bulk. They won't be small orders, trust me. But then again, in Germany, they do smoke a lot of pipe tobacco. It seems to be one of the countries in Europe that it's a popular engagement. So, and it's traditionally how they've actually operated anyway, is they would have shops that have their own blends, like for instance the one I showed you there from Zechbauer. They have a huge amount of inventory of their own blends, and they're all made by ST Group, and maybe Dan as well, I'm not too sure. But anyway, the market in Germany seems to be a slightly different one. It may be a little bit more complex than that as well. There may be other issues, contractual and otherwise, that may have to be allowed and thought about as well. There, don't know information. I don't have any information on. But really, one of the things that hurts me the most, and I'm sure it really hurts you guys in the US as well, so the Sutliff brand is so old, very traditional. In Richmond, Virginia, home of the Virginia blends, of tobacco itself, and was the last surviving tobacco producer, really, blender. And now ST Group have decided, right, we're going to close you down, physically close it down, remove all the equipment, sell it all. Well, no, actually they won't be selling it off, they're actually going to scrap it all, aren't they? They don't want anybody else producing any blends with that equipment. To my mind, that doesn't really make a lot of sense anyway, because they're going to have the recipes. They ain't going to be selling those on. They won't be sharing those. So anyone that wants to start making tobacco wouldn't be making the same blends anyway. They'd try and make them similar, but like it would take them so long. So it wouldn't really, I don't think, be much competition for them anyway. It's almost out of spite they're doing it. It's just incredible. So sadly, we're going to lose a very old company there. Twice, I believe, because it was bought out by another company, and they lost the name, but then when Matt Barron's bought it again, they reinstated the Sutcliffe name again, which was good. Sadly, it seems that that name is going to be banished to the history books. Excuse me. Very sad. Very, very sad. So what do you do? The only way I think about this is like if it was the Peterson and all the blends that I like, and they were saying no, we're not going to make those any longer, I would have liked to have had a bit more time that I could stock up, but we don't have time in the Mac Barron and Sutcliffe area, because they basically shut it down already. And whatever's available after, I think, is it February or March, that's it, nothing left. And by the way things are going right now, people are just bulk buying as much as they can. I don't think there'll be much left very soon. So hopefully people have managed to stock up their favourite blends, and more importantly, I hope they're willing to share with other people, because there's nothing worse than having people that are sitting on thousands of pounds in tins of tobacco that they're never going to get through in their lifetime, and hoarding it to themselves. I don't think that's ethically correct. You know, what are they going to do? Pass it on to their kids? Kids, by and large, won't have any interest in pipe tobacco or smoking anyway, and even if they did, they probably wouldn't get through it neither. So it's a very sad state of affairs. So really, I guess it's time now for choosing a blend other than Sutcliffe or Mac Barron that you had before, and see if any of the other blenders can have something to offer. Boycotting STG, I think, isn't a smart move anyway, because we actually want the pipe tobacco industry to stay alive, and we would rather like to keep ST Group in business, because there would be no tobacco if they were to close down. And that's not the answer. It's certainly not the answer. I guess the answer really is for them to see the errors of their ways and maybe bring back some of those blends again in the future, or maybe even sell those blends off to people that are interested. But in the US, they have some very strange laws, don't they? The FDA have started to clamp down heavily, and that brings me on to my next subject, really. The thing that's most worrying is the way governments are going to try and ban smoking altogether. And unfortunately, pipe tobacco is pretty much like collateral damage, isn't it? They actually want cigarette smoking to stop because it causes so much more health issues. Don't get me wrong, pipe tobacco isn't entirely free of issues and medical problems, but far less. I mean, how many people do you know that smoke pipes live to be a very ripe old age? Yeah, indeed. So, yeah, that would be my main concern. And even if they don't particularly ban it, they're going to increase the duty on tobacco, all tobacco products. Like, I look at cigars now. Cigars that I used to buy a lot of, I wouldn't dream of buying them anymore. Like, I do enjoy Davidoff cigars, and some Cuban cigars. I used to like the Cubans a lot, but I think the standard of those cigars have definitely dipped now, because like they now have a big market that they need to share, like China for instance, and the amount of cigars that they were producing could only make so much money, and now there's such a demand from China, they have to produce even more cigars. But how can they produce that amount of cigars to such a high standard? They can't. So the standards are slipping. Substandard tobacco is being used. Some of the cigars I've had recently were just like atrocious, really bad. Whereas the Davidoff now, they're slightly different. They're not Cuban. They're from different parts of the world, and they make beautiful cigars. But here in Ireland, to buy a cigar, €25 for a cigar. That's a ridiculous amount of money. You buy a full tin of tobacco for that, and that lasts you a good while. Whereas €25 for a single smoke, half an hour, I can't bring myself to do that anymore. I still have a few in my humidor, and but I can't see myself restocking on cigars any longer. Not at those prices. Absolutely ridiculous. But really, now and truly, if you want to buy pipe tobacco, now is the time to buy it, because it's as cheap as it'll ever be. It'll only ever get more expensive now, going forward. And that in itself is worrying, isn't it? Because it's a ritual, it's a hobby, it's a part of our lives that we thoroughly enjoy. It doesn't make us aggressive, it makes us much more calm and peaceful. You know, we're usually affable people you find smoking pipes, and now we're going to struggle out of pocket and out of choice, being able to find them. Terrible. However, it is here to stay. I'm fairly confident about that. There will always be pipe tobacco available somewhere in the world, which then brings forth the age-old issue of smuggling, travelling to countries and buying and travelling home. You'll never stop that, will you? But that's a shame. So where do I get my tobacco from? Well, here in Ireland, there is only one shop that I am aware of anyway that is allowed to sell pipe tobacco online in the south of Ireland, as in the Republic. And that's a company called James Fox, jamesfox.ie. You can buy their blends. They don't sell Peterson, they sell some commercial blends. When I say commercial, it's like pouches such as Mick McQuaid, Clan, Virginia, and the likes. And then they have their own blends, Fox blends, and they're quite beautiful as well. Actually, let me just have a look, see what we've got here, and see what we can come up with here. Now I just need to open up a website here. Where are we now? Excuse me for one moment. James Fox, here we are. So they have their own brand. I'm not too sure who makes it. It could be STG, highly likely, because Peterson blend is all blended by STG as well. And they have, how many do they have now? 10 blends on their website currently. I'll put the links in the descriptions below so that you can see them for yourself. But they have 10 different blends, a mixture of English blends and aromatics and flake. And to be fair, I've tried quite a few of them. I haven't tried them all, but I have mostly. And they're all exceptionally good blends. Really nice. Blends that there's something there for everyone. The downside to these is that they are expensive, and they're only expensive in Ireland because of the duty that we have to pay. So, for instance, I'll just briefly go through some of them. They have Fox Anniversary. Now the Fox Anniversary is, as the name describes, it was brought about to commemorate the establishment when Foxes were established back in 1881, so a long time ago. And it's a mixture of Virginia and Oriental tobaccos with certain amount of aroma added to them. It's aromatic, ready rubbed, it's medium. Now a 50-gram tin, now I can only tell you this in grams, I don't do this in imperial, I'm afraid. But a 50-gram tin, which is this size tin. Okay, does that show you that in ounces? No. They don't even tell you in grams. Anyway, €40. That's a lot of money, isn't it? €40. Gracious. For the same one, it's about €25 if you buy it in the north of Ireland. Another one they have, which is an aromatic, is called Fox Ardagh. That's Ardagh, and that's, once again, it's an aromatic, a ready rubbed aromatic. But this one is a mixture of the light Virginias from North Carolina and Black Cavendish, and they have additions of rum and ginger and cherry to give it a bit of a flavour and a really beautiful room note. Now, I have this. It would be one of my, I would say it's my favourite, but it is a nice one. It was recommended to me by a chap over the counter there in Cahill's in Limerick, another place where you can buy tobacco from. Nice. They have Fox Bankers. Now, Fox Bankers is slightly different. It's a traditional style ready rubbed medium blend, but it uses tobacco leaf. It's got a Havana leaf in it. So it's got that cigar excuse me, cigar flavour to it. It's a little unusual, coming from a cigar smoker and then having the taste of cigar in a pipe doesn't really do it for me. But if that's the type of thing that you like, then you should try a Fox Bankers. Then they have Fox Campanile or Campanile. This one is also a traditional ready rubbed, and it's a medium blend. So this one here is Turkish and Oriental tobaccos. They say it's perfect for the early morning pipe, so it's akin to, I guess, early morning pipe EMP from Peterson. It's not bad. I've tried it. It is a very traditional Irish blend, and if you think about it, Fox and Peterson have been around for similar times, so they were very similar in the tobaccos that they produced. Nice tobacco. Another one then, coming on to Fox Celtic. This is an aromatic. It's quite mild, but it's ready rubbed. And this one here, once again, is a Cavendish and Virginia with the broadleaf Carolina tobacco. I'm not too sure what the flavouring is on that. I haven't tried it. The next one is Fox Dorisco. This is a traditional ready rubbed. This is full strength tobacco now, and this one goes out of stock very quickly. It's something that is well loved. If you like Perique, this is the one for you. It's pure Perique. That's been as the base. Sorry, added to the base of Virginia. So it's a good spicy old tobacco, that one. Then they have their own flake. Their Fox Flake is actually very good. It's very similar to the Erinmo, to be perfectly honest. Very, very, very same, to the point where it's probably identical. They used to call it honeydew flake. It's slightly aromatic, blending with different Virginia leaves. That lemony citrusy smell. It's lovely. It's medium, but it is very nice. Then they have Hibernia. Now this one here is also an aromatic made from Virginia, but blended Kentucky blends and burley from Louisiana. It has a vanilla flavour added to it. So that one there, now if you like vanilla blends, which I know Sutcliffe had a lot of, you may like to try that one. Fox Hibernia. And there's just two more. The next one is Fox Provost, and that's also an aromatic, and that one's got the American New Cavendish tobacco, and with the bright Virginias. It's quite sweet, I think. I'm trying to recall if I had that one. I don't think I've tried that one, but it does get good reviews. And finally, Fox Squires. Fox Squires is a traditional type ready rubbed, but this one once again is full flavoured, full strength as well. You need to be careful with this one because it's strong, but this one has Turkish tobaccos including Latakia and Virginia Cavendish, so it's a good full flavour, that one. Definitely worth a punt. So that particular place, that's from James Fox. Now they also do let me see now, commercial pipe. I'm only saying this just so we can share where we buy our tobacco from, but they sell the Benson and Hedges Special Virginia, Clan, Condor Plug and Condor Ready Rubbed. And then they have their own, oh, they do sell Petersons as well, Peterson Aaron and Connemara Black, along with Irish Dew, Wild Atlantic. These are all new. Yachtsman Plug and Mick McQuaid. So they have, once again, 10. They have 20 types of pipe tobacco in total. They also sell pipes as well. They have their own type of pipe that they produce. They're quite nice as well. Yeah, I think they sell Falcon pipes as well, which is interesting. That's something that I would have been. All the chaps that I used to know years ago used to have them. They have Savanellis as well, so that's nice. Although they're all sold out, so it's not great, is it? So James Fox, they're the only ones that you can buy online from. But unfortunately, they don't have a massive selection, but they have 10, 20. Not too bad, is it? Now the other places that you can get them from in Ireland is obviously the Peterson shop itself in Dublin. Now that doesn't allow you to buy online. You can phone them and tell them what you want and pay for it with a credit card and they'll ship it to you, but you have to make contact with them directly. You can't do it online, so you can still buy it and have it delivered to you if you know what you want. Another place in Limerick is called Cahill's, and they sell I think sell Fox blends, and not a little bit of Peterson and the commercial blends as well, but once again they can't sell that online. They do sell pipes and tobacco and cigars as well. It's a nice little shop actually, nice, well worth a visit, nice friendly place. Fox is in Dublin, is opposite Trinity College, and that's a wonderful place because they sell beautiful whiskies and cigars and everything for a gentleman really. Not that I would class myself as a gentleman. And then Peterson, which are just further down Nassau Street, further a few meters or so up the road from Fox's. In Cork, where I'm from, well, I'm not from, but I live, is Bubble Brothers, which is in the English market. They sell the Peterson blends and some of the Fox, I think they sell the Fox, but certainly have the Peterson blends anyway, and they will sell you there when you have to go into their shop to buy it, once again not online. They don't carry a huge amount of stock, maybe 10 different blends, not always in stock, so you probably want to phone them ahead of time if you're going in there, but you can get it there, and that's exceptionally good. And then the best place in the island of Ireland, because this is actually in Belfast, so that's actually classed as the UK, is Miss Moran's. You can actually buy Sutlifs from Miss Moran's. They have a huge selection of tobacco, the biggest without a shadow of a doubt in the island of Ireland. And that's where I would buy most of my tobacco from. They do sell it online. You have to pay the duty, you have to pay all the extra tax and such like as officially, and it's well worth it though. It's still cheaper than buying it in Ireland, south of Ireland. So yeah, it's enjoyable and nice to be able to go there. They sell a lot of pipes as well, So like they would be selling blends from Samuel Gareth, Chacon, there's one I had here, I don't think I've got it here now. I can't remember what it is, but they have a huge